It's a scary thought for me to contemplate. If you start with the idea that American higher education has for 100 years been the envy of the world, and we kind of like to think that, even though it does smack of hubris. When the entire world wants to send its sons and daughters to American universities to be educated, and we have been the glory of the world in terms of higher education opportunities and higher and higher levels of achievement. When you go from that, and then you now come to the point where things are broken, they need fixing, and the federal government will fix them, it's a scary thing to contemplate. I think the implications, one of the reasons for the success and for the glory of higher education has to be, anyone would have to acknowledge this, the effectiveness of voluntary peer group accreditation, where the peer group knows what it's doing, knows what it's talking about, is the one to evaluate and set standards of quality, and at the same time encourage innovation and encourage institutions to be creative. Indeed, idiosyncratic. One of the unique features of American higher education is that it's not a cookie cutter approach. It's not a one-size-fits-all. Institutions are free to do whatever their mission says they can do, and do it in their own creative way. And this we call academic freedom. It's a cherished right in higher education. It means that you're going to have extremely innovative institutions that do things differently and not according to a formula or a template set up by government. Other countries of the world use what they call a Ministry of Education approach, in which the ministry dictates curricula, dictates which textbooks to use, what kind of faculty to have, number of hours of study. It's all dictated from the top down, and that leads to maybe some effectiveness, but it sure doesn't lead to much in the way of a flourishing creative environment. In the American experiment, if you will, the institutions and the peer group set out what was quality and then evaluated it. Now, critics say that day has come and gone. Now we need more controls. We need more centralized control. We need more output standards, more in the way of evidence that the institutions are doing what we want them to do. And where the scary part comes in is because education is the right of the states, each state can do its own thing, and consequently, a state, for example, could say, we don't like Thomas Jefferson. We're going to have you excise out of your textbooks all this stuff about Thomas Jefferson because we think he was not a good person, and we're going to de-emphasize anything to do with Jefferson. That's happening now. Or you could have school boards that say you may not use this textbook or that textbook, and then pretty soon you get into a Ministry of Education model, which in my humble opinion would be a tremendous mistake for this country to do. I think that the pendulum has to swing back. We have to get more support for voluntary accreditation. We have to build it back up again, because the federal solution is not the complete answer. There's a saying in our world that when the federal government does surgery, they do so with a blunt instrument. And you really don't want them in charge of setting institution missions or institution criteria for faculty. That is not their role, and we need to get some balance back in the picture here.